presenting your host for the Racecoin podcast, Jay.
What's going on, my Racecoin fans? I'm here with Dominique, a Swiss motorsport road racer. Welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. Hey.
So, when did you first get into racing and get on your first bike?
I started when I was very young, with 3 years old, and my father and my mother have a workshop in Switzerland, and I drive in front of the workshop. And then with 5, I get my first race with motocross, and there was starting my career.
Okay, that sounds like a very almost easy transition, right? Because your parents were involved with it. So how did you manage to first secure your first sponsors and, get the funding that you required to join and actually race?
Yeah, I was very lucky that I have very good parents that always support me, especially when I started. They was always coming with me to the training, to the races. And after that was not easy to find a sponsor to always keep riding, because motorsport is very expensive, and also here in Switzerland it's only possible to do some motocross, but to go road racing we needed to go out of Switzerland, and this was like Germany or Spain. So I was happy that my father could find some small sponsors that they could help me with some products like oil or tires or something like that. And lucky that we could improve also our result, and then also the journalist and how you say, the television was coming, so it was also more easy when there was my name in the newspaper or something like that to find some sponsors.
Of course, I mean, the ball just gets rolling. And then you had your first debut opportunity in the Portuguese Grand Prix, right? So how was that? How did that come about? And again, how did that opportunity manage to get secured by yourself?
Yeah, to there was still a long way. I was riding motocross until 13 years old. And then when I was 13, I was changing from motocross to road racing. And then I was making the German championship. And I finished there in the second position. So one team from the World Championship, they see me that I ride good. So they give me a wild card for the first Grand Prix for me in Estoril. And this was my first GP weekend, and I did quite well. So I could ride also the last race in Valencia 2006 with 125, and the next season I could step into the all season in 125 World Championship.
It sounds like so far, just the initial kind of vibe that I'm getting is that it's been just very smooth flowing, one thing after another. I mean, can you walk us through some hurdles you've had to overcome, or some problems you faced along the way that have kind of been difficult, or something that hasn't really been as easy as the transition has been in general?
Yeah, I think as a Swiss rider, there is not so easy to step forward and to be a professional rider, because, like I said, we don't have any race tracks here to training and to try to develop your riding style. And this is also from the federation. You don't get a lot of help, because it's not like in Switzerland. It's more like ice hockey or football. There is a lot of children who go to this school, but there is not really a school like maybe in Italy or Spain, like they have here for football or ice hockey. So you need to push yourself, and to be very strong also mentally, and also you need to have the right parents and the right sponsor to
Have the
go
opportunity.
forward.
Yeah, of course. And it sounds like throughout this kind of trajectory or path that you've taken, your parents have played a very big role in it. Were they ever afraid that you would be in a situation where obviously it's a risky sport, right? So were they ever afraid for you, or were they just always supportive from day one?
Yeah, I always say when there is a sport when you need to wear a helmet, the sport is dangerous. But my father was always pushing me to go forward, to go faster, and try to help. And sure, my mother was always a little bit scary, and still now she sometimes cannot watch the races, but she was always supporting me as well. And also my brother, he helped me a lot to do all the stuff that I can concentrate for my riding. But yeah, I was lucky, and I had until now not so big injuries.
Of course, but crashes are obviously part of the game. It happens. What is it like at the moment you realize you're about to crash or you're about to fall? Like, what goes through your head at that moment?
Yeah, you say fuck. No, no, it's too late. Sure, you can feel it that you are on the limit, and when the tires start to slide, you try to save the slide, and depends how far you are already on the ground. Um, like you can see, maybe Marcus, he can save very low slide. But yeah, when you crash, you say, okay, try to move your arms maybe to the chest, that they are not flying around, and try to see where you slide through, so you can maybe manage to avoid some bikes, or when the grass or the gravel is coming. This is the only thing you can do when you crash.
Are you given training about that? So, are you taught how to fall, how to kind of, for example, things like bringing your arms in and things like that? Are you taught those sorts of skills?
It's difficult to train crashes because you don't fall by just to try to crash. You don't do this, but yeah, like in Moto2, everybody is so much on the limit, so crashes is normal for us. The good thing is you train hard at home, physically and also mentally, that you are fit, so that you are always full concentrated when you are also crashing, that you still can manage like the crash, like okay, and you force your muscle when you fell down. And when you are maybe not so good trained, you just let your body fall and maybe can broken some bone. But when you are physically very fit, maybe the muscle can save the crash.
No, I completely understand. And the entire premise of falling is obviously something that plays on riders' minds to different extents. Is that something you try and just like, what is your mindset towards a crash? Is it, if it happens, it happens? Are you ever afraid that it's going to happen? Like, what's your take on it?
I'm not afraid to crash, because I know I have I ride in a safety track, because all the World Championship track, they have a lot of safety room when you crash with the grass and gravels. And also I wear airbag system with my leather suit, boots, helmet, gloves. They are quite good development for these crashes, so I feel safety. And also, like I said before, I'm very good trained, so sure, always when I crash, I hope all is okay and I can start the bike again and ride the next practice. I don't hope that I crash in the race.
Of course, yeah. No one's hoping that, right? But I mean, you've obviously been in Moto2 for almost 9 years now, right? Just under a decade. And how has it changed over the last decade? So when you first started to now, what are the sorts of differences that you can see in the not only in Moto2, the industry itself, but also for your own race?
Yeah, I went to the Moto2 class in 2010 when they changed it from the 250 two-stroke to this 600 four-stroke, and was very interesting to jump from 125 to the 600. And then every year you could see there was a lot of progress with the chassis, with the tires, and also aerodynamic. So this was very interesting. I ride also different bikes from Suter, KTM, Kalex, now Emi Augusta. So I was always full motivated in each race or in each season to improve. And let's say 2013 and 14 was my best season, and after this I had some injuries and some bad luck with the team or with the bike. So I hope this season it will go again up to my best.
Yeah, of course, and just keep improving. And that sort of mindset obviously requires a lot of training, a lot of discipline. What sort of things do you work on for training and to kind of be able to concentrate for longer periods of time and things like that?
Yeah, I do a lot of training, especially when the winter break is here. I do a lot of cycling, running, gym, and then I try also to do some stuff on the bikes like motocross, supermotard, go-kart, where it's very good for the concentration and for the arms. Yeah, and then mostly I would like to ride the Moto2, but there is the 19 races and only few tests what we can do. And yeah, this is
What about
my training.
simulations? Is that something that you've kind of tried out or have found useful? Simulations when you try and see if that you can get a feel for the track if you haven't been there and things like that.
Yes, simulation is more mentally side. Like you write in your head the next track. You know where to brake, how much gear you need to shift down. But like a simulator, like you can jump on the bike to simulate the track or the bike. There is not really good system yet. Like the Formula One, they have a very good simulator. But there is also the PlayStation. You can play a little bit. So yeah, to learn the track. But mainly I do it in the head.
Okay, fair enough.
Visualization.
And how do you prepare for a race? Like, walk us through the journey on the day of the race. Like, what do you do to get ready for it?
Yeah, Sunday race is always a happy day. Stand up in the morning, eat breakfast, then make a small warm up and go to the track. We will have the warm up at 9 o'clock.
What kind of warm up? Like, what does that involve?
Stretching, a little bit running, warm up a little bit the muscle. Yeah, just like that. And the warm up, I mean the warm up, we have 20 minutes on the racetrack.
Mm-hmm.
After that, and then we see all the strategy for the race with the team, a little bit break, and then I watch the practice start of the Moto3, and then I go back to my room where I can change, and yeah, I stay focused, warm up again a little bit, and be ready for the race. Yeah.
And is that also when you play out the simulations in your head, or do you just trying to keep it chill and not really think about anything else, like to do with the race anymore, and just get on the track, or do you still try and play out the what routes you're going to take and what lines you're going to take and things like that?
Yeah, I mostly think about what I will do in the race simulation side. But in Moto2, it's very difficult to also take a tactic to say, okay, we save maybe some tires or something like this. But
Yeah.
because in Moto2 the start is, and then everybody try to win a position as much as possible, and yeah, push every lap. So I think the best thing is always to prepare something, but also when the start happening and then your plan is not working, that you can
Be ready.
achieve yeah, to change immediately to a different plan.
Yeah, of course. And, your team is obviously heavily involved in this. So talk us through some of the roles that they play while you're on the track, and what kind of feedback you're receiving, and how do they really kind of influence the way you race on track?
Mostly we prepare everything before the race, because we don't have any headphones on the racetrack. We can just see the pit board when we cross the start finish line, and most of the time they show how many laps is still going, which position you have on the race, and they put also the gap from the behind rider and how many rider are behind you. So this gives you some idea, so you don't need to watch back, and you can always focus in front.
So how has I mean, obviously you've been riding for, many, many years now. How has your experience changed the way you tackle a race? If you're, let's say, further behind or if you're up ahead, like how has the experience that you've had throughout these years changed the way in which you race in the first place?
Sure, it's much more easy. Well, let's say much more easy if you start in the front row, but maybe you have also more pressure when you start there. So sometimes when you start from 15, maybe you can overtake also more.
Yeah.
No, but I think I'm learning each race, and I try to improve also myself to be better and to stay always in front row. But sometimes there is many factors what you need to put together to be also in front. And the last some races there is let's say the package what I have, it's not yet together that I can stay again in the front row.
Of course, and some of these things that obviously involve factors outside of your control. So how do you kind of really, obviously the competition year on year is getting tougher and tougher, presumably, right? As the types of bikes they improve, the riders they get, younger and better almost year on year. Like starting, next thing you know, they'll be 2 years old and on a bike instead of 3. But the whole kind of journey of it seems like something that is pushing yourself each time, each day, each race. And what I really want to know is, throughout this journey, have you felt like there are people you've looked up to, or mentors that you've had, or or people that have taught you something, or events that have taught you something? Like, where have you found that source of guidance from or learning from?
Yeah, I was a long time in World Championship, and I learn every race, like I say, and I try also to get help from outside, like trainers for the physical or mental training for the head, but also on the racetrack with riding coach who can help me to find out maybe better lines or better riding position on the bike. And this is all parts what I take from each year and each person. So I always try to to take all information and then to see what is the best for me to be as fast as possible. And most of the thing I try also to learn by myself with the data recording or with the teammate. And yeah, this develop me more
Yeah, of course. And how
fast.
many times do you watch your own races back, as an example?
Most of the time, like now we have in the weekend we have Jerez race number 4. So I watched last year race, so I know which lap times they ride, which position I had, and what was the race situations. And normally I watch this one time, and normally after the race I watch again the race of this season. Yes.
Okay, no, that makes sense. And the whole mental training aspect, like, can you tell us more about that? Like, what does that really involve? What kind of things you do? What kind of techniques are involved? Like, things like that.
Uh, Most of the time, like I visualize the racetrack, and I go through to the through the track
Mm-hmm.
with closed eyes, make my line, my ideal line, with braking points, opening gas points, which gear I need to shift, and then I drive this few times, and yeah, try to improve. And also sometimes I even do with the lap time, like I stop my visualization lap time, and I can see if I'm right, if I do it right or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then I try to be as close as possible to my race lap time.
Interesting. Okay. And in terms of the people, so you mentioned that you have a trainer for physically, trainer for mentally as well, right?
Yeah.
Do you what sort of things do you go through with them?
With my physical trainer, I train, let's say, one time per week, and he gives me the training plan what I have to do in the rest of the week, and we do 2-3 tests during the year to see where I stay. So after this test, we can see in which area I need to work, if it's muscle or more cardio, and sure, also the weight is very important.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the plan with my trainer, and yeah, each training is a little bit different. And with the mental training, I see him, let's say, one time per month, and yeah, we check always how was the weekend, how was the race, and what I was thinking in my head, and then also to prepare the next race.
So how does one kind of really work on that? Like, so what is do you have a technique that you do, or do you is it like more therapy sort of thing where you just talk through things? Like, how does it work in terms of actually benefiting yourself? So what I'm asking is if you could share something so that the audience can also apply something that you have learned in your sessions where you're getting trained mentally, so that they can also work on something else in their life through using something that you do.
Um, you can repeat the question. I didn't
Yeah,
understand
sure.
so well.
So when you have when you have the training session for a mental training session with your trainer, what sort of things are you taught so that you can improve for next time? So I'm hoping that you can share maybe a technique or maybe what you do so that other people who are listening to this podcast can really understand what they can do to also improve their mindset towards something that's important to them, whether that's, giving a presentation, whether that's, doing a surgery, whatever that is that they might not have the confidence in doing at the moment, can help from understanding your journey of how you improve your mental state.
Yeah, sure. It helps to stay always positive and to see the thing in a positive way,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, to be always yourself, and try to visualize the procedure what you will do. So you will get there, and you will already a little bit know what will happen. So it will be already more easy to maybe make the track day or maybe make the surgery. So when you go through this plan, I think it will help, and also like speak with the team or with the people around you. It always helps to give you some force, and when they are behind you, it will sure motivate you also.
Of course, yeah, 100%. And recently you took a trip to Brazil as well. What was that like? Did you have you were riding out there as well and things like that as well, right? So what was that journey like?
Yeah, I was for holidays there because we was Argentina race, and 2 weeks later we was in Austin, Texas. So in this 5-6 days, I didn't want to go home, and I was never in Brazil. So I say I want to go to Brazil to visit and to make some sightseeing. And yeah, it was very nice to keep calm there for 1 week.
That's good. That's good. It's always good to have some time off, right? And what message would you like to leave the fans who are listening to maybe inspire them, maybe talk them through something that you've gone through, or share a story or something that will allow them to not only know you better, but also feel that they can apply something in their own lives?
Uh, yeah, difficult to say, but maybe follow me on Instagram, so you will have some positive vibes. And yeah, just enjoy what you do, and yeah, try always your best, and yeah, always good good sport, good food. So it will make your life much more easy.
Good food, keeping it simple. Love it. Thank you for being on the RaceCoin podcast, Domi. It's been a pleasure having you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you also.
If you like this episode of the RaceCoin podcast, go ahead and subscribe so you can get notified every Monday when a new episode is out. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.